Hearing my own performances is always strange, like listening to a stranger's voice ring back. Hi, my beautiful. Hi. Welcome to America's Got Talent. The host's voice boomed, introducing a moment that would alter everything. Just 13 years old, Courtney Hadwin walked out onto a spotlight stage. Her voice unpolished, edgy, and filled with a soul far more mature than hers. The audience went quiet, mesmerized as she sang from her heart out, giving it everything she had in the performance. No one could have envisioned that a girl from County Durham, England, would thrill a packed American theater within seconds. Today, we take you on a quest to learn about the amazing life of Courtney Hadwin, a story of victory, tragedy, and unbending strength. From the audition that launched her into the spotlight to the heartbreaking accident that tested her spirit, we'll explore every twist and turn in her path. What pain did she conceal behind that powerful voice? Who was Courtney Hadwin behind closed doors? And how did her spirit endure the darkest moments of her life? Stick with me as we dissect the tale of a daring performer whose existence was changed by recognition but always kept to the ground by where she came from. A star born in Heselden, Courtney Hadwin was born on May 6, 2004, in the rural town of Heselden County, Durham, England, to Paul and Marie Hadwin. Her working-class parents, industrious and dedicated, had demanding jobs but never failed to create time to foster their daughter's nascent talent. Courtney was enchanted from a young age by the soulful melodies of music, her mother's playlists dominated by legendary artists such as Aretha Franklin and James Brown. These tunes provided the background music of her youth, kindling a flame that would shape her destiny. At 2, she already had an inherent affinity for music, tapping her small feet to colorful rhythms and humming out intricate melodies with a natural flair that defied her age. At 3, she was a ball of energy, dancing up and down the living room with arms flung high whenever her parents played music. Her enthusiasm was contagious, and Paul and Marie marveled at their daughter executing spontaneous routines, her tiny body exuding fire. Courtney's passion for music was not a passing fancy. It was a calling. Her parents, seeing her potential, encouraged her to pursue this talent. They signed her up for singing lessons at 8 years old through her school, where her music teacher was immediately struck by something special. Courtney's voice had a heavenly quality to it, full of depth and texture and richness that seemed impossible for one so young. She was encouraged by her teacher to sing in the school choir, which would be the start of her becoming a confident performer. Weekly rehearsals at the school hall were where Courtney learned and improved, every new song strengthening her confidence. She shone at school assemblies, performing with friends from class, with a stage presence that had seen her given the name Rocker Girl by her classmates. They were amazed that she could sing and dance at the same time, her performances full of natural charisma that swept them all up. Courtney gave it her all when it came to music. She never missed a music lesson, learning about breathing exercises that enabled her to hit high notes with accuracy. In the silence of her bedroom, she sang vocal scales into a mirror before school, her self-discipline impressive for a kid her age. She even started writing lyrics, opening her young heart up to words that reflected her feelings. At 10, her drive prompted her to start a neighborhood band, Durham Soul, rounding up kids from throughout Heselden to sing and play. Their parents supported them, some even buying guitars and drums to finance the band's progress. Small crowds watched them play, and the word got around that Courtney possessed something special, a heart-moving voice and commanding stage presence. A local reporter heard about the talent of the youngster and featured her on the County Durham newspaper with a front-page headline announcing, "A young girl brings soul to County Durham." The article made Paul and Marie's hearts swell, and for Courtney, it was confirmation that her voice counted. She went on training at Schotten Theater School, where Marie took her every weekend for lessons. There she learned from a dedicated singing teacher the techniques of phrasing and control, how to shape her voice to fit the mood of a song. Courtney had one aim in mind: to convey raw emotion through sound, to make people feel what she felt. She was first given the opportunity to perform at a Durham City Festival in front of thousands of people. The flashing lights unsettled her at first, but as she sang, her confidence level soared. When she struck the last note, The audience erupted into thunderous applause. Strangers clapping for a girl they did not even know, touched by the strength of her voice. Courtney gained a local celebrity status of sorts, often invited to perform at community gatherings, birthday parties, and functions. These concerts showed her how to engage an audience by selecting songs whose lyrics she could personally relate to. Every note she played was real, so her concerts were emotionally powerful. By age 12, her aspirations had exceeded Heselden. She saved every nickel her parents gave her, with a goal of helping to pay for a plane ticket that would bring her ability to a wider audience. Late at night, she jotted down her dreams in a notebook, hoping to share her gift with the world. Her gift made her special, a spark everyone around her could feel. With her family's constant support and encouragement from her mother to work diligently, remain humble, and look high, Courtney looked beyond her little town. She was a girl with a suitcase and a dream, but would America notice what her neighborhood already understood? The audition that left America speechless. Summer 2018 saw 13-year-old Courtney show up in Omaha, Nebraska with a tiny suitcase, a black leather jacket thrown over her shoulder, and a burning passion in her heart. She had never stepped foot in the United States, and family acquaintances had cautioned her against jet lag, telling her to rest as soon as she arrived. Courtney, however, had one dream: to make it onto America's Got Talent. On the audition day at the CenturyLink Center, she woke up both nervous and excited, a ball of energy. The waiting area hummed with hopeful singers and dancers rehearsing in tiny ensembles, and backstage staff randomly called out names. Hanging onto her fedora and audition sheet, Courtney breathed deeply to calm herself. When it was her turn, she trailed behind the producers along a cramped passageway to the stage, her heart racing. Under the unforgiving bright lights of the stage, the judges, Simon Cowell, Heidi Klum, Howie Mandel, and Mel B, sat in stunned silence, their eyes glued on the teenage girl in a black leather jacket, white shirt, and jeans, her hair flowing in loose waves. When the band played the opening chords of Peace in My Heart, a silent hush enveloped the audience. Courtney's voice began as a whisper, her eyes closed, feeling the rhythm pulse through her. Then, in an instant, her voice exploded with raw power, cracking with intensity as she stomped her foot and danced with the confidence of a seasoned performer. Simon leaned forward, his brow furrowed. Heidi's eyes widened in disbelief. Howie covered his mouth, hardly masking his surprise, as Melby tapped the table impatiently, wanting more. When the final chord sounded, the theater was filled with applause, the judges standing up. With a characteristic move, Simon activated his buzzer, sending a red light across the stage. Courtney's eyes sprang open, catching sight of his grin as she grabbed for her fedora. Looking backstage, she spotted her mother wiping away tears of happiness. A producer offered her a microphone for a quick interview. "I like to sing. It makes me feel free," she replied, her voice shaking with emotion. The plain-spokenness of her words touched everyone in the room. Her performance clip went viral that night, racking up more than 10 million YouTube views before dawn. Media from the New York Times to the BBC referred to her as a teen Janis Joplin, and hometown newspapers hailed her as Heselden's conqueror. The following day, Courtney was back for a more private audition, performing an original composition, Heart and Soul, by her vocal coach, Laura. Her voice rang with raw emotion, filling the room even without the theatricality of stage lights. Simon praised her authenticity, saying, "You're not imitating anyone. You're yourself." Those words cemented her place in the live shows. As she left the audition room, fellow contestants enveloped her in hugs, celebrating her success. Despite missing her family and friends, Courtney felt a sense of belonging on the AGT stage. Messages poured in from new fans across the globe, Japan, Brazil, and beyond, praising her voice. One listener posted, "Your voice makes me feel alive." Another wrote, "You remind me of my daughter." Courtney was overcome and cried, knowing her music had reached people she would never know. Once the live show started, Courtney was no longer a contestant. She was a phenomenon. Her audition clip had 10 million hits overnight, posted on social media with messages demanding friends and relatives watch. Media outlets used headlines such as "Teen rock star from England steals the show." Swept up in a whirlwind that she'd fantasized about but never really envisioned, Courtney found herself in Los Angeles under a special chaperone clause. School became more rigorous, but with her tutor's assistance, she managed to keep pace with her studies while rehearsing for her next performance. Rising daily at the crack of dawn, she stretched her chest and shoulders by singing scales to warm up her voice, holding each note longer. Her vocal coach gave precise comments on timing and breath control, where she adjusted her art with each session. Rehearsals were held on the AGT stage where harsh lights and wandering cameras caught everything from all sides. Courtney grew accustomed to singing with spotlights and fog machines, making sure nothing distracted her sound. She conditioned herself to walk with a mic stand, perfecting dramatic pauses to maximize the power of her performance. Producers and directors were amazed by her dedication, with one crew member commenting on her maturity far beyond 13. During live show week, Courtney performed Janis Joplin's "Maybe" onto a stage covered in glittering arches and dark red lighting. The crowd gasped as she started, then stood mid-song, cheering her raw, passionate singing. Confetti cannons rained streamers on top of her as the judges smiled and nodded in appreciation. Her performance topped the most viewed list in AGT history, sweeping the music blogs, fan sites, and charts. Talk shows fought for bookings. On The Ellen DeGeneres Show, Ellen hugged her warmly, both of them laughing as Ellen attempted to sing in her raspy tones playfully. Courtney explained how she had Mr. Dog at home, and how the applause of the audience touched her. On The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, she performed a traditional blues song with a surprise live drumbeat accompaniment. Jimmy and band leader Questlove complimented her singing, playfully proposing that they form a band. Courtney, always down to earth, grinned and said she would think about it after completing her schoolwork. Record labels made studio time offers, and merchandise firms made hoodies and t-shirt pitches. But Courtney stuck to her humble beginnings. She held fast to her mother's mantra: sing for the joy of it, not for fame. Following each performance, she phoned home to remain in touch with her loved ones, reading the messages from fans who were inspired by her artistry. In a moment of quiet, she penned, "Today I sang for millions. I'll sing tomorrow from the heart because I adore it." From one audition clip to international stardom, Courtney Hadwin's tale was one of overnight fame founded upon years of commitment, thousands of hours of practice, and a dream that started in a small town in England under the limelight. She was the same girl who danced around her living room, her voice shining brightly as an icon of resilience and sincerity.